Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you. Please have a seat. Thank you. Feel free to adjust the seat, or you can have to adjust it so that please assist him so that it's raised a bit to his height. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. My name is Nelson Makanda. I am the chair of this selection panel, and it's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for applying, and congratulations for being shortlisted. I will invite my colleagues to introduce themselves before we come to you. Please, Vice Chair.
Good morning, Mr. 𝐉𝐨𝐧𝐚𝐿. My name is Linda Kiome, and I am the Vice Chair of this panel. I welcome you to this interview session.
Thank you.
Dr. 𝐉𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐚𝐿.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning to you.
Naitwa Bwana Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa jopo hili la uteuzi, na karibu.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Caroline
madam.
Kituku, a member of the panel. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning, sir.
Adam Solo, a member of the selection panel.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Nicodemus Bore, a member of the panel.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. 𝐉𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐚𝐿, and karibu sana.
Good morning. Thank you.
My name is 𝐋𝐭𝐢𝐩𝐚𝐥𝐞𝐢,
Yes.
and I'm a member of the panel.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
Habari ya Samburu.
Samburu is good.
Asante. Karibu sana. My name is Evans Misati.
Misati, yes.
I'm a member of the selection panel, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
Now we will come to you and kindly explain in brief detail your profile, where you're coming from, and why you think that this is a suitable job or a commitment for you that you have applied for. And mention if you have any honors and if you belong to any professional society. Please proceed.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, may I take this opportunity to first thank you for this opportunity to appear before you. I can't take it for granted, and I feel privileged to appear before you then. My name is Dr. Jonathan 𝐉𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐚𝐿, MBS. I was born and brought up in Samburu, and I went to a local primary school there. And the interesting part of this is that I did extremely well in my primary school, so well that it was a beginning of a thinking process going forward. The other aspect of the same is that at a very early age, I became the school head boy. So I interacted with normal HR issues, conflict of students, issues to do with truants, and those conflicts became a negotiator and provided my skills at a very early age. I went to Marala High School, and also I did so well, as shown by my certificate. I got a Division 2, and also I was the school head boy. So at that moment, I was also able to interact closely with leadership roles, head boy Kamukunji, where you hear, you listen, you resolve, and you give feedback. And I was able then to be a part of the role for guidance at that early age, guide my fellow students and be able to be a pillar of hope for those who came from those vulnerable groups. After Mara High School, I went to Kisii High School, but dropped, unfortunately, because I could not raise school fees for my A levels from 5 and 6. So I went back to Samburu, remained at home for some time, and I went to try to join the military. Unfortunately, I was picked as a cadet and went for military training. So I'm a military trained person, but that's not the issue. I'll come back to military thereafter. So I was posted to Isili, and my quickest issue was to read. So I enrolled privately at a small center in Langata Barracks. And I passed so well. I got 3 principals and 1 subsidiary without a teacher. Then I went back to Air Force and joined the University of Nairobi. I joined the University of Nairobi to do Bachelor of Arts, Political Science, and Public Administration. It is at the Political Science and Public Administration training at the University of Nairobi that interacted with the electoral process, political parties, interest groups, politics in Kenya, and I got a first class in political science and public administration. So basically, I'm a political science. I understand electoral processes and more so public administration. I proceeded to do my master's at the same university, same department, political science and public administration at the University of Nairobi. And I was privileged to get the prestigious Osakawa Peace Foundation scholarship. And it was more necessary then to undertake issues related to international relations. So my master's is biased to international relations. It is at that moment that I was able to get skills on negotiations, skills on mediation, skills on human conflict, how to resolve conflict, how to understand, skills to listen, and I graduated the master's degree and proceeded to do my PhD at the University of Nairobi, the same department, for political science and public administration still. It was at this moment that I chose to do conflict management. So my PhD thesis was conflict management, particularly issues affecting the pastoral communities of Turkana, Samburu, Pokot, and to some extent the Cushitic neighbors, the Rendile, the Somalis, and so on. And I graduated. It is at this moment that I was able to get to understand the manifestation of conflict and why people behave the way they do. So that is what it is for my education journey. My name is on several books. I have published four books. I have also published several, about 9 in international articles in the international journals, and I'm also a reviewer in some of the international journals, like the Political Science and Political Science and Humanities. So that is me in the academic. I have also professional trainings, apart from military, which I had mentioned. I have also done diploma in community development. I've also done through AMREF, gender issues. I'm also trained in accounting, but for non-financial managers. I've also ICT skills, as you see in my documents. And that is what it is. My job experience is a long one, but I will try to be brief. One is that I joined the military. So I was a military officer at the Air Force, and I was privileged to be posted at the Logistic and Supply Chain Department, where I trained and I achieved a diploma for that area. So I'm disciplined. I'm a team player, because in the military, you can only have an assignment paired. Minimum 2 officers, maximum 9. It can also extend to 36. So all along, it is about teamwork, team assignment, and there was no way you could do it alone in any assignment given. So I'm a team player. I'm an extremely honest and disciplined person. I left military and had a break at the University of Nairobi for about 4 years. Then I joined the Christian Children's Fund. My intention then was to give back to my community. I went to do community work and processed scholarships for vulnerable children in Samburu. And most of them now are teaching in the university. Some of them are doctors, some of them are teachers, and so forth. Some of them have joined the military, and I'm proud to see those fruits. So I grew up and became the CEO, the project manager of Christian Children's Fund. And at that point, I was in charge of staff. I was the secretary to the board. I was in charge, the accounting officer. I was the person in charge of scholarships. And we had a great team, becoming sufficiently able to propel the vulnerable Samburu into greater people. I left Christian Children's Fund and I joined the Teacher Service Commission as a chief HR officer, double up also becoming a planning and planning officer. In HR, I was in the first time able to interact with the commissioners. So I was serving in a secretariat, so I can understand what it means to be with commissioners and how policies are executed. And I was responsible for promotions, deployment, discipline cases, guidance and counseling, staffing in general, and was able also in planning to bring down specific units from 24 to 8. I left Teacher Service Commission and I joined Vision 2030 Secretariat. This is the place that I got the privilege of serving this country. I was the director in charge of enablers, but more so, I was able to interact with all the pillars: economic pillar, social pillar, and political pillar. Political pillar spells much of what IBC does: risk management, people-centered activities, democratic processes, and democratic rights for the Kenyan people. But more so, I was in charge of the enablers. Enablers are roads, ports, and anything infrastructure, reforms in the land, reforms in the police, reforms in the public service. And I was the director then in charge of evaluation, evaluating
I'll
all
give you a
the
minute to finish up,
Yes,
to
yes,
summarize.
I'm finishing up, yes. Evaluating all the MCDS, including counties, development of CIDPs, development of medium-term plan. I was the lead person in the medium-term plan, 2 medium plan, MTP3, and so forth, and reporting also to Parliament and the Ministry of Economic Planning. From Vision 2030, I joined IPOA as a commissioner, and I've been the vice chair until late last year when the term came to an end. So as a vice chair, I was the link between the commissioners and the secretariat because of that portfolio. I was also chairing meetings in the absence of the chair. I was able to do oversight of the police and the work of the execution of the secretariat. I was also able to lead the development of the 5-year strategic plan for IPOA. And I've been a person who gives guidance, particularly in issues of governance. I'm trained in governance in ISPAC for non-financial managers. For that purpose, sir and panel members, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Linda.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Jonathan, you have a wide experience in corporate governance, and in your entire career journey, you have done so much. In appreciating that, is there a period during your career where your leadership skills have been tried, tested, and you overcame? And if there was such a period of time, could you please inform this panel about that particular experience?
Thank you so much, Madam. In public service, trials are normal, and particularly at a management level. And it is true, during the scholarship programs, people who are not very poor as such, could not meet the threshold, would come to me, you see, we want our child to be part of this scholarship program. You belong to our clan. You see, we are looking upon you to, but usually it's about law. There are specific laws and guidelines and ethical standards that have been set. And therefore, there is no way I would go outside what is given in law. And I have told them in black and white that this route is not the best to go. It is good to go this route because that is what it is as provided for in the law. And people just, became comfortable. Sometimes those trials are just a check to see whether you are an easier person to accept those trials. Thank you.
So, and then now that if you're picked to be a member of the commission, you're going to work as a team with different skills and different competencies. Which of these skills and competencies do you think best suit for purposes of your execution of your mandate as a team of the IEBC?
Thank you so much. The reason for this job is simply because I have passion for this country. I look things in a bigger picture. And to be able to work as a team, decision-making elements must be serialized to specific valuable decision-making. And the team must be brought to a level where everybody appreciates and thinks positively about what needs to be done. So I bring skills of negotiation. I will bring skills of resilience. I will bring listening skills. I will bring also my ability to understand that it is true. it is not always south. It can also be north, or it can also be a compromise situation where we all see that this is better than the way it was initially. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Thank you, Chairman.
Invite Carol to ask you some questions. Carol, please.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Daktari.
Yes.
Today we are speaking about the independence of the IBC. What are those things that establish or make IBC be deemed to be independent?
IBC, as we know now, has many issues that people talk about. Some are true, some are not. Independence will therefore mean that the ability of IEBC to resist external influence and external interference. There are certain things that need to be done and certain parameters that must be looked at. One is funding. Funding is the normal, most likely area where IBC is caught, because you look at the proposal they are making now, with about 61 billion and going through the parliament. So one is funding. Two is transparency. The apathy in IBC has been a question of apathy. People do not trust. People do not trust. And sometimes it's not because they don't want to trust. It is because IBC has not come out clearly to give direction. Yes, to some extent, yeah, but it's a question of trust. Number three is about transparency.
No, we are speaking about the independence of the IBC.
Yes.
There are those things that the law has given to IBC that indeed demonstrate that IBC ought to operate independently. You have mentioned about funding. Which other one speaks to the independence of the IBC as a commission under Article 249 of the Constitution?
IBC, as we know, is independent. It does not report to any organ apart from Parliament, and sometimes reporting to the President. It is imperative to understand that IBC takes the role of further education. IBC also continuously review the role. It gives that independence. It also handles electoral disputes. IBC also receives party lists. It also clears candidates for election, which nobody else has that mandate. And those elements, among others, are the spell out of the independence of IBC.
Okay, thank you. I just want to follow up a quick one.
Yes.
In which ways you spoke about IBC reporting to Parliament and the President? In which ways particularly does the IBC report to the President?
If you look at the recent 2024 report given, they actually analyzed the post 2022 elections and give the issues that were emanating by the same, and also spell out the conditions and challenges that were being faced by IBC. And they have also tried to give solutions on the direction in which IBC would take to better either technology or to better the process of handling the 2027 general elections.
You said IBC reports to Parliament and the President.
Yes,
I
true.
want to bring up to one other arm of government, the judiciary, which exercise an oversight role on the IBC. To what extent then does the judiciary exercise its oversight mandate over the IBC?
Yeah, true. IBC has numerous petitions that are being taken to judiciary. They also, like what is pending now, the lapse of the limitation. There's an opinion pending before Supreme Court. There are also EDR court EDRs where settlements and petitions are being handled. So judiciary is closely also oversighting IBC through those petitions, through court cases, and through launching of complaints, particularly that have effect on the IBC work.
All right. Thank you, Dr. London-Pui. I wish you well. Over to you, Chair.
Okay, Madam Koki, please ask some questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dr. London-Pui, allow me to stay on the IEBC's capacities and capacity to build trust and ensure integrity. One of those ways, besides what my colleague was trying to arrive at, is what we call post-election audits.
Yes.
And those audits are done on the basis of reports that are prepared by observers and others, even including IEBC, that have specific recommendations. So should you be lucky enough, because we have seen this post-election audits do not achieve the outcomes that lead IEBC to build trust and to ensure integrity in elections. So if you are lucky enough to go to IEBC, what will you do differently, and how will you do it to ensure that you are strengthening trust and you are enhancing the integrity of elections?
Thank you so much. It is true. Pre-elections, during elections, and post-elections have reports. But let's look at the posts. There are local observers. And in fact, last year, 2022, I was one of the local observers in some counties in Kenya. And there are also international observers. And many groups, civil societies and others also write reports. And groups write reports the way they saw what happened during the elections. Some give a good bill of health, some give to some extent, some don't at all, say that nothing much happened democratically. The problem here is that people sit in a boardroom like this in their own way. Some write reports in Geneva, in London, in South Africa, in boardrooms in Nairobi, and give to IBC or give to the public or the media. The critical thing I want to bring about is that it's not just about reporting. This is not a question of just reporting. It is important that an in-depth and maybe a program is rolled out for IBC to have sufficient time and a sufficient period after the elections to receive these reports and have an engagement with each and every observer or every report writer. Say that, you see, the engagement, it's not just about going to Serena and EU presents a report and go back to wherever they came from. It is critical for IEBC to take that responsibility, that feedback is critical, and it is imperative that a space of this week or whatever will be open for each one to bring, say that you can interrogate, you can feel the discussion, and you can now receive the report after a presentation has been made. And therefore, you know, it's a friendly thing.
Let me interrupt you a little bit.
Yes.
Forgive me for interrupting
You know, it's okay.
When you observed your elections during the last general election,
yes,
did you write a report? Did you make any recommendations to the IEBC? Did
yes,
you write a report?
Yes.
And
yeah.
when they got that report, are you aware whether or not they did a post-election audit, IEBC?
From the indication and the literature available, and the report, a very long report of 126 pages, looks like there was an attempt. It was an attempt to do the audit. But after my observation, we had a lengthy 1 week to bring back. And you see, much of what we were looking at ourselves as IPOA was the question of the oversight of the police, the security, measures that were deployed during the elections. And that is what we zeroed in. And we gave back to IEBC that particular report. We never got the feedback, and I've been trying to scan through. Of course, in the report, if you check the report, the audit report, they have just mentioned IPOA as one of the institutions that observed and gave reports, but nothing much as you are putting across.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lodompui, and all the best. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. FCPA Tanui, please ask some questions.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to pick up from where my colleague Carol left it on the issue of independence. You've come from independent policing authority.
Yes.
Now you're moving to independent electoral commission. I want to inquire from you whether, despite the two having the word independent, is IEBC the same as IPOA in as far as independence is concerned?
It is a yes or no answer, sir. IPOA has really strived to be independent. Even Elboling.
Look at it from governance perspective, constitutional framework, legal framework, so that give us that. Are they the same?
Yes, the legal framework is the same. The independence is independent. It is supposed to be that there should be no external influence. It should be that the mandate given by the Constitution for IPOA and for IBC is relatively the same. However, there are certain departures. There are more interests in IBC because of the stakeholders and the interest in the political class and the interest in government that infiltrates IBC.
Just restrict yourself to the governance.
Yes.
Not how the structures, IPOA structures, governance structure, and IBC governance structure.
The structures are the same. The structures are supposed to be independent because there is a commission, there is a secretariat, and there are duties and the mandate given to each and every institution. So the structures are the same, governance are the same. However, the execution of those duties as being spelled by the strategic plan and the undertaking of those independent programs.
Is IPOA in the Constitution of Kenya?
It is not.
It is not.
It is not.
Is IBC in the Constitution of Kenya?
Yes, Article 248, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How are commissioners appointed?
The same.
Are you a commissioners or you are board at IPOA?
Yes. If you look at the literature and the board papers available, the commissioners in IPOA are appointed the same way like every other commission. But the drafters of the act of IPOA had reservations because there was already an existing National Police Service Commission, which was dealing with the police. So to deal with the police, the drafters thought it necessary to have IPOA as a board, but the instructions and the appointment is on the same strength, the same Article 250.
Removal, how is the removal?
The same.
From office?
Same. 6-year tenure, and they are protected as IBC, as National Police Service Commission, and other commissions. However, reference is, some people went to court, and I'm sure you must have, some people went to court to challenge exactly what you are saying. This is a board, this is a commission. Yeah, but the instruments through AG, through the Office of the President, through the appointments, has spelled out that it is a commission. However, it has been taken to be a board on those parameters.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, using your, you've told us you're an expert in governance. And one of the challenges that have been highlighted in IBC is the use of resources, more so in as far as finances are concerned. And one of the structures that have been put there is to have an audit and risk committee at the commission. So how important is audit and risk oversight at IBC?
Thank you so much.
What importance will that be to IBC?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. The audit committee is an external organ for IBC and other commissions. However, there is always a commission representative, maybe one commissioner. Audit is extremely very important for any organization, and particularly IBC, because the prudent utilization of resources must reflect the expectations of Kenya. And the internal audit, therefore, looks both at the financial and accounting processes and procedures, as well as the quality management services, which are non-financial. And the reporting of the internal audit is usually a measure and an indicator of the direction in which programs are being implemented, and whether there is value for money, and whether there is anything that is not very clear. So the audit committee gives an independent view of the way finance and programs are being executed in IBC. And therefore, it is a very critical committee. As we speak today, I think the audit committee still exists, despite the fact that there are no commissioners in IBC.
Thank you, Dr. and I wish you well. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. I invite Mr. Misati to ask you some questions.
Yes, Chair. Thanks so much, Chair. Dr. Ali, now I want to take you back to the relations between the Secretariat and the commissioners. And it's in public knowledge that we have had some of the Secretariat in the past, some of them having a very cordial relations with the Commission or the Chair, and some of them having a very stormy relationship. What do you attribute that to? Is it a personality issue or an institutional infrastructure?
Thank you so much, sir. Section 11A of the IEBC Act spells out in black and white the role of the chair and the commissioners. It also spells out the role of the secretariat led by the CEO. And there's no overlap. Formulation of policies, oversight, ethical standards, and resolutions of the commission is executed by the secretariat in day-to-day activities. So if there is any convergence for any reason, most likely it is a question of a character. It is more individualized as opposed to the law, because the law is very clear and there are distinct roles. And the convergence is only on what I've just mentioned, the transparency, the accountability, the oversight, and the strategic direction by the commissioners and the formulation. So it's just about working through committees to see that the implementation of whatever the commission has directed is executed.
So how they work is they work through subcommittees.
Yes.
So why must they work through subcommittees? And mention a few of the subcommittees that you know that they work in.
They work, all commissions, not necessarily IBC, work through committees. Why? Is because there are specific specialized areas. We have ICT, we have communication and outreach, we have HR, we have finance and audit, and several. So they caucus as committees to receive specific specialized issues from specific programs for the purposes of presentation. And the committees are very necessary because they sift issues that are emanating from specific programs. ICT has these issues. The ICT committee will look at it, panel beat it, and make a presentation in the full commission for adoption. So it becomes easier and it can run simultaneously. 7 or 6 committees can be working the same day in different locations and be able to report. The chairs of all these committees will report. So it will report to the commission. So it becomes easier and it becomes also more closer to see how the senior management through their cascaded programs in their area are able to handle specific resolutions made by the commission. So that is what it means, and that's how important it is for those committees that I've just mentioned. So.
Thanks so much. All said and done. You have all those structures now. Now, from where you stand, if you are given an opportunity and you are one of the commissioners of IPC, what do you foresee as the cause of any conflict, and how will you address it between the commission and the secretariat?
Thank you so much, sir. I mentioned that my area of specialization in my PhD is conflict. Interestingly, conflict emanates all the time. It's either silent or intermittent, or disappears for a moment, then resurfaces. We would want to put this clear that the law of IBC has spelled out what needs to be done by the commissioners, what needs to be done by the secretariat. And there should be no conflict in the event, because it has happened before. In the event conflict arise, it is good to revert to the code of conduct, code of ethics, and the structural HR management procedures and manuals, particularly for the secretariat. It is also important that the commissioners develop what is called commission charter on specific guidelines on what need to be done. It is also important to revert to the regulations, because the regulations are able to detail specific issues that probably the Act does not spell out explicitly.
Dr. I actually asked, in which areas do you foresee a conflict specifically? The explanation you have done, but
Yes.
cite any one specific example where you can see in which areas you can see a conflict.
There are various areas where conflict can arise. One among many is a question of transparency. You see, there is a question of transparency. Sometimes some staff may go overboard. Sometimes they don't give the image that is required. Sometimes they may have a loop on issues that probably are not strategically spelled by the Commission.
Thanks.
The other is communication. You know, communication is very critical, and the information must be safeguarded to have only one channel. And when commissioners, because you have seen, some commissioners issue press statements here, some issue press statements there. It is lack of issues, and it is a prone area for conflict.
Thanks so much, Dr. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Over to you, Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Fatuma, please.
Well, thank you, Chairman. Dr. Lodompai.
Yes, madam.
And I wish to follow up on the question by FCPA Tanui. I served at the inaugural IPOA board.
Yes.
And we established that institution from a scratch.
Yes.
By the time we were leaving, it had over 200
218.
staff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 218. Yes.
And a budget of 1 billion from a budget of 200 million.
862.
Yes.
Yes.
If you read our
Yes.
exit report,
Yes.
you would know what we were able to achieve.
Yes.
And that we achieved as part-timers with only 8 meetings every month. What was so difficult when you came in to change that into full-time, to change yourselves into commissioners? I'm interested in knowing what happened.
Thank you so much, Madam Zaman. Truly, we really appreciated the work done by the Inaugural Commission. Starting from a scratch in 2012 was a major challenge. And you did all that was supposed to be done. For us, when we came on board, we realized and appreciated the Secretariat created the units in all the former provincial administrations, and we found the office, we found the staff, we found the programs running, and we never changed the programs that were mooted by the inaugural board. Still are there. We just enhanced. Now, the question of part-time and full-time was that, interestingly, when we came on board, it was 2018. just immediately after the elections. And there were many issues touching the work of the police. Police have done this in Kisumu, Kondele, police have done this in Karsen, police have done this in Wajir, police have done. So the tray was extremely full. And at the same time, there were continuing killings. And we requested the office of the president and the appointing authority that I come from Samburu. Somebody comes from Garissa. Someone comes from Homa Bay. The other person comes from Mombasa. The other comes from Isiolo. To converge every time to look at what is happening on day-to-day problems that are emanating on the other side of the police became extremely cumbersome. And it was necessary, therefore, then to keep tabs, right? Be available and be able to convene in the simplest way possible. And the police, as you know, because you do, were taking much of their time, particularly on the summons, because you know. Summons, you summon somebody who is at the border, Liboy, or Nakodok, or Busia, or anywhere, Lunga Lunga, and it takes 1 month, or even more, or sometimes even don't come. So we just wanted to have a closer execution of these programs. However, it becomes easier for us to have caucuses with the IG of the police, with the minister, with the PS, with other sister commissions, and be able to respond. If a problem happens in Embu, we are able to dispatch one of the commissioners leading the investigators as quickly as that. So that is the reason that brought about part-time and full-time basis. Yes, madam.
Thank you, that's enough. After the 2007 elections, the media houses were blamed, or rather accused, of biased coverage, contributing to tension through inflammatory reporting, and which might have escalated the situation at that time. So to mitigate on this in future, what measures would you recommend to promote media accountability and ensure balanced coverage during the election period?
Thank you so much, Madam Saman. And it's very unfortunate. Probably I don't want to revisit that kind of a scenario because I was appointed or selected by the office of the president to attend to problems of the post-election violence. Immediately around April 2008, when things were really bad, and I was sent to Nakuru, and I was in charge of Sanchangwan, the ruins of Total, Londiani, Krosoi, Molo, Njoro, parts of Nakuru, Ndeya Farm, and Makutano, to all the way. And Madam, it is one thing that we do not want it happen. In fact, one of my motivating reasons to apply for this job is that I wish I can become a change agent. People died. People are, for those who come from that end, you saw what was in the total ruins. Everybody and everything was destroyed. Churches and everything was burned. It is me who went to there and stayed for 1.5 months to bring about about this. So what do I want to bring about to change that scenario? One is that we must bring media more closer. You know, this vernacular radio stations and TV stations propel things for their audience. And I don't know why Kenyans usually think that it's only by talking bad that people will listen to you. So IBC has a role to suppress those vernacular radio stations and any other media house that has interest. The problem is that people have interests, and sometimes they show these interests openly. And it is important that a framework of engagement for the media, particularly, is mooted by IBC and have periodic, and where possible, even a permanent platform where elements from these media houses are brought to fore, say that a continuous discussion can be there, and probably even spell out a template of what need to be said and what need to be communicated. The loophole here is that IBC was not, as you have seen in the 2022 again, it was not very strong in communication. So communication and outreach must be at the top of the agenda for people to understand and for people to engage and for people also to ask questions. Thank you.
The media have a right to inform the public, and keeping the public informed during the election period is equivalently very critical. Much as maybe some vernacular radio station could have contributed to that problem at that time. But again, the word suppress would it not be a very extreme word to use?
Okay, I can withdraw suppress.
Yes. So what is it that what formula, how would you engage to ensure that the public are informed the right thing at the right time? And there's some kind of engagement. It doesn't necessarily have to be control, but engagement that is healthy. What are some of the things, hands-on things that you can recommend?
Thank you so much, Madam Samal. It's true. Suppress will therefore democratically mean something else. And therefore, I think it's an open dialogue. It's an open dialogue where each and every person has a space, and that space is prudently utilized by all. However, it is important to just have a wash. You know, I become my brother's keeper as much as you are my sister's keeper, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much, and I wish you well, Daktari. Yeah.
I invite Nicodemus now to ask you some questions. Nicodemus, please.
Daktari, electoral processes are often unpredictable, and challenges such as voter turnout issues, delay, or technology failures can arise. Can you provide an example of a time you adapted quickly to unforeseen challenges? And how did you manage the situation?
Thank you so much, Bode. I've participated in electoral processes several times, being a presiding officer, being a coordinator during the referendum, being a deputy presiding officer. And there are various challenges, particularly in the northern part of this country. Voting is not as spelled in Article 38, political rights. People prefer going to look after their cows and camel and goats than going to Fort. And therefore, IBC has a role to bring education specifically. And also the turnout, voter turnout. You look at the last election, it was 64.77%. The other was 78, and so on and so forth. It is the responsibility of IBC to put a thorough education and sensitization program for the voter turnout. And particularly, in the urban it's easier because the reach to the polling station is not as far as is in some parts of this country. And walking all along, people think it's just a walk. They do not have the feeling that by walking will mean electing leaders who will change the narrative of this question of leadership. So it is important that we pool resources, we pool our collective mind and intention, and also educate people, and mainly Kenyans and mainly pastoralists, on the need to turn out for elections.
Thank you, and all the best, sir.
Thank you.
Prof, please ask some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me state here that I know Dr. Lodompoi. He was our student. He enrolled for PhD during my tenure as chairman of the department and finished after I had finished my term. But I won't be influenced by that knowledge and relationship, professional relationship that I know him. I just want that we record it straight, because it's in your CV, that your master's was not from the Department of Political Science. Your master's was from the Institute of Diplomacy and International Studies. Is that correct, even from your CV?
It's not correct, sir. Because
No, let me just go on again.
Okay.
The Sasakawa Scholarship.
Yes.
Where was it domiciled between the Department of Political Science and the Institute?
Prof, you know this. I'm a student of political science. My classmates. My classmate.
I'm just saying because
it is at the University of Nairobi, Department of Political Science. It was only that.
But your CV that the Secretariat has given us says Institute of Diplomacy, and the Sasakawa Scholarship was being issued by the Institute. Anyway, that one can be sorted out later. I'm just saying that what you have given the Secretariat and what you have said here is not in concurrence. And I also know, as the chairman of the department, that the Sasakawa Scholarship was domiciled in IDIS, which IDIS grew from the Department of Political Science. But I think that's not the main focus.
Allow me to clarify, sir.
All right.
Allow me to clarify. It is true. I was admitted by the Department of Political Science. Amadi, Jonyo.
No, you don't have to.
No, I'm coming about. So the interesting thing about Sasakawa is that there was a clause because the scholarship came through the University of Nairobi, Department of Political Science and Public Administration. They had a bias that you have to do international relations. And that's why some of my classes were from diplomacy EDs.
So you'll want to correct your CV as
No.
you gave to the secretary.
No, it is
Okay,
correctly, it's correctly so, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Very well. I was just going to the record that every other panelist has, so that when they are looking at it vis-a-vis what you said, then now we go by what you have said on record as opposed to what is in their files.
Correct.
Very well. Let me start from where Madam Fatma left. I know you withdrew the word suppression.
Yes.
But I think the point there is that if you go to the Constitution, at Article 19.3, which forms the Bills of Rights, the rights and fundamental freedoms in the Bill of Rights, A, belong to each individual and are not granted by the state. Okay? That's the Constitution. B, do not exclude other rights and fundamental freedoms not in the Bill of Rights, but recognized or conferred by law, except to the extent that they are inconsistent with this chapter. So the right of Kenyans to vernacular station is not one of those that are limited under Article 25, which states fundamental rights and freedom that may not be limited. So these ones can be limited, the ones you're talking about, but the freedom from torture, blah, 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 to a fair trial and all that, those ones can. So I think what you wanted to communicate was that this other right to vernacular stations can be limited. And I guess the question was how and under what law can it be limited? And as you explain further, is that the duty of IEBC, or does that fall under the purview of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, so that IEBC doesn't take over the role that is assigned to another body? What's your comment? I'm asking that because Kenyans are listening. You withdrew the word suppression, but you seem to be saying that IEBC can regulate the media. And I just want us to be sure that what are you communicating that you would do together with the commissioners insofar as the question that Fatma asked is concerned. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now that you have made a disclosure, sir, yes, it's true to the panelists that, yes, you worked like an academic journey with the prof, and there's one statement, I was so frustrated many times, you know what happens. And he called me to his office and told me, Lodompu, you will graduate as you are signing those documents. So now that there's that disclosure, I've met him a long time through my academic life, and that's it. Now, suppression, prof, is a relative term.
No, you have already withdrawn.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring it up
Okay.
for the purposes of this issue. It's a relative term. Suppression in military circles means that the enemy is made to be weaker. Suppression at some point, as explained, is that people must have, rights. Rights are there. And what I was trying to bring about is about obligations. Where do rights stop? Are rights expressly free space for everyone? So separation, therefore, and that's why I use the open space, that's why I use the open dialogue, is about the ability by the Commission to open up discussions with the media houses. However, they have the Media Guild, which also controls what kind of information goes to the public. So I'm saying that it is critical to look both sides of the coin, because you saw what happened in 2007 through this media communication. And if everybody becomes responsible, then Prof, all rights, even if they are not limited, as you are saying, must have obligations. Yes, it is my right, but how obligated are you as an individual when you are taking whatever action? That's what I want to bring out, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let me go to another limb of integrity. In light of past electoral disputes in Kenya, particularly the findings of the Kriegler Report 2008 and the 2023 National Dialogue Committee report, what specific actions, if any, would you take as a commissioner to promote transparency and inspire public confidence in the IEBC's operations?
Thank you, Prof. It is very critical, sir, that we look at an IBC as a center stage for dialogue purposes, for execution of electoral processes. And if you look at what is in Article 87, Article 87 is about electoral disputes. Electoral disputes emanate from many sources. And it is critical that IBC get mediators, training of electoral dispute resolutions, internal mechanisms, train staff to undertake crisis management, and sometimes to understand how the dispute has been brought about. It might have been from just one side, it might have been from both sides, and it is the IBC responsibility in that Article 87 to understand the parameters of these disputes and settle them amicably.
Thank you, Chair.
Prof, do you have some final 2 questions, please?
Sure. One Litipale.
Yes, sir. It is Litipale.
You have served in various positions in government.
Yes, sir.
I think one of the ones you highlighted was your service in the Vision 2030 Secretariat.
Yes, sir.
Which is a macro vision that is not specific to a particular regime. Which is the other macro policy that was unveiled in Kenya in the immediate post-independence period that has informed every other policy in Kenya? What was its title and which year?
Yes. Thank you, sir. The question of development had really questions. So sessional number 10 of 1965, was mooted to bring about development and how songs.
Title?
Come on.
Its title?
Sessional number 10. Sessional
Sessional
paper.
paper number 10 is the number given to it by Parliament, but it had a title.
Yes, you see, the quarrel or the issue surrounding was the development.
What I mean is that you can have, for example,
Yes.
sessional paper number 1 of 1986, which says agriculture for renewed economic growth.
Yes.
So you have the number 1 of 1986,
Yes.
but the title. Sessional number 10 of 1965, did it have a title?
Yes, it had a title. It was to look at the
Okay.
yes, a development.
I don't
again.
want the explanation. I wanted the title, so I can pass that one because you have already answered part of the question. Last question. Which African country has the largest population?
At the moment, it is Nigeria.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Doc, for the time we have spent together, learning both from your experience and from the questions that we have asked you today. I don't know whether you have any comment or a question to ask so that we can be able to progress.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is to thank again the panelists for having me and listening to me all this long. And I appreciate the long hours you are here and wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Your certificates will be somewhere at the door as you walk out. The notebook is yours, the pen, and the water. We are grateful for the time we have spent, and we wish you well also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Media, you'll allow us to have a brief break, and we will resume at 11:20. Thank you. Okay. Our next candidate is Joseph 𝐿𝐨𝐻𝐚𝐥𝐞𝐢.